How about a dramatic win last night in the first game of this series? A leadoff triple in the bottom of the 10th by Miguel Cairo. And then on his own, Wilson Valdez lays down the bunt. Cairo with a headfirst slide in the game winner. And the Reds in 10, a 6-5 victory here at GABP last night. A great overhead view as we get ready now for this Saturday afternoon game, the middle game of the three-game series, the Reds and the Tigers on Fox Sports Ohio. And a pleasant good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jim Couch, along with Chris Welsh. Welcome to Reds Baseball. We're at Great American Ballpark, where for the second day in a row, we'll have a sold-out Great American Ballpark. It's the Reds who have gotten off to a very good start in interleague play with the victory last night, now 3-1. Chris faced one of the best pitchers in the American League, one of the best pitchers in baseball, Justin Verlander.
Well, you know, when you face a guy like Justin Verlander, you just have to ratchet up your effort level just a little bit more. You've got to be a little bit more careful about your approach, and don't give up the game before it starts. Yes, this guy was the MVP last year. He was a Cy Young Award winner. He leads in strikeouts. He leads in tons of categories, but still, he's beatable. Actually, he's lost his last 3 ball games, but Justin Verlander this year and last year and the year before, where is he? First in starts, first in wins, first in strikeouts, opponent batting average down around 200. Yeah, he's a hard guy to hit, but he can be beat. All it takes is a combination of good team effort and a good pitching job by Bronson Arroyo.
Well, you just talked about on your checklist one of the things the Reds need to do, and that is get a good outing out of Arroyo. He has to keep this team in the game.
He's really the key because you're not going to blow Verlander out, that's for certain. So Bronson Arroyo's got to tee it up and pitch one of his games where he's able to change speeds, use that breaking ball. Of course, he's got to be very careful of the left-handers. Prince Fielder's got 3 lifetime home runs off of him. They've got a bunch of lefties in the lineup, can potentially give him some problems, but I think he's up to it. You know, Bronson Arroyo is a very tough competitor. I think he cherishes a game like this to match up against a guy like Verlander. A good matchup today of some right-handers here at Great American Ballpark.
Well, defense is always a big key for the Reds, and they did a good job of it again last night. Closer look when we come back.
It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Beautiful sun-drenched day here at Great American Ballpark. You couldn't ask for anything better. Fans have flocked in. They enjoyed the action last night, and they've come back for more today. A sellout here at GABP on this Saturday afternoon. Let's check in further on our weather. Weather brought to you by Thompson Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Drain Cleaning. Here's Scott Dimick from WKRC.
Hello, everyone. I'm meteorologist Scott Dimick. If you're heading out to Great American Ballpark this afternoon, be prepared for some heat. First pitch temperature of 88 degrees and mostly sunny. We'll maintain clear to mostly clear conditions through the 7th inning stretch as temperatures slowly ease down into the 80s by the final out. We're clear to mostly clear with a temperature of 85 degrees. Go Reds!
All right, Chris Welsh, let's talk defense. Reds flashed leather again last night.
Well, that's one of the calling cards for this 2012 team is how well they play defense. And, of course, they've got good pitching, but pitching is nowhere without good D behind you. And Brandon Phillips, Zach Cozart, Chris Heisey the last couple of nights, boy, he's done some great work while he's been airborne. And overall, his defense is like one big vacuum out there. If you give him a chance to make a play behind you, more often than not, this team will be able to do just that.
Well, we'll see how it goes here today. It's Mr. Fastball Verlander, Mr. Finesse, Bronson Arroyo. Something will give. Let's see if the Reds can get a second victory in a row against the defending AL Central champion Tigers. Ohio is brought to you by the 2012 Ford F-150 Motor Trend Truck of the Year. By Cincinnati, USA. Let us be your travel guide to Cincinnati. Visit CincinnatiUSA.com. And by Skyline Chili. Game time is Skyline time. Stop by your favorite Skyline Chili today. Well, in today's game here, we are participating in the Home Run Challenge. Today, every home run in this game will raise $12,000 for prostate cancer research. You can get involved by making a pledge by calling 800-798-CURE. That's 800-798-CURE. Or go online to www.pcf.org. Jimmy Leland, the seventh-year manager of the Detroit Tigers, puts out this lineup today, brought to you by your AXA advisors. Austin Jackson back and off the disabled list will lead it off. Brennan Bosch, Miguel Cabrera. Middle includes Prince Fielder, Delman Young, and Ramon Santiago. Then the bottom third, Gerald Laird, Danny Worth, and the right-hander Justin Verlander, who does not have a hit in his career. Here's the numbers on Bronson Arroyo, brought to you by Jose Cuervo.
Bronson, a 12th start of the season for this right-hander. He's 114 and 109 in his lifetime. He's made 302 starts, so he's trying to keep that earned run average down around 3.9. He has not given up nearly as many home runs this year as he did last year, where he gave up 46 overall. That may be big because the ball is really flying out here in batting practice today. And he's the guy that knows very well that he has to be on top of his game facing the reigning Cy Young Award winner, Justin Verlander.
Austin Jackson just off the disabled list today, where he's been since the middle of May. Leads things off for the Tigers and takes the first pitch strike from Bronson Arroyo, and we are underway from Great American Ballpark on this Saturday afternoon. Jackson hitting .331 with 5 home runs, 17 runs batted in. In his third year now with Detroit, after coming over from the Yankees in that Curtis Granderson deal. Jackson's been on the disabled list since May the 17th with an abdominal strain. He recently played in 2 games at AAA Toledo, going 1 for 8 down there. Back at the top of their lineup here, they really did find a decent replacement. Chris, and Quentin Berry did a nice job for him.
Well, he did a nice job, but it's tough to replace this guy. After all, his on-base percentage is up over 400, so he sets the table for Cabrera and Prince Fielder very nicely. You see, even though he got ahead behind the count 0-2, Jackson's now worked it to full. He takes a lot of walks. He's just not a guy that chases too many pitches out of the strike zone.
From 0-2 to 3-2, and now a swing and a miss. Off-speed delivery gets Jackson on strikes.
Well, it's going to take a little while for these right-handers who have never seen Bronson Arroyo, at least recently, to get used to that side-winding angle. Sometimes he throws it sidearm, sometimes he throws it 3/4, sometimes overhand at 12-6 motion. That curveball can really give him fits.
Here's our forward defensive look at the Reds. Ludwig, Heisey, and Bruce. Frazier, Cozart, Phillips, and Votto on the infield. And as usual, Hannigan catches Bronson Arroyo, who strikes out Jackson with a 72-mile-an-hour breaking ball. So Bosch, who had a home run last night, one of the 3 hits he had, 3 out of 4. Solo blast in the 4th. Lifts one here toward right. Heisey and Bruce, and it's Heisey, the center fielder, who calls for and makes the catch for out number 2. So Bronson Arroyo facing the Tigers for the first time in interleague play, and facing Detroit for the first time overall since 2005 when he was with the Boston Red Sox. He's never faced Detroit as a member of the Reds overall in his career in 5 starts, 2 wins and a loss, and a 4.65 ERA against the Tigers. He last picked up a win against them on the 5th of May 2005 at Detroit. You take a look at his last 3 starts against them. The 2 out, nobody on. Batter Miguel Cabrera. Cabrera hit last night, a 2-run single as part of that 6th inning for Detroit. Smash to the mound. Arroyo knocks it down and throws Cabrera out. And Bronson has a 1-2-3 first here in the top of inning number 1. Coming up, bottom of number 1. Number 3 up, Joey Votto against Justin Verlander. So now the Reds will face the right-hander Justin Verlander, and the big matchup everybody waiting for is this one. Joey Votto, second in the league in hitting now with that 14-game hitting streak. How will he do against the man who has 2 no-hitters in his career and is the reigning American League Cy Young and MVP from 1 year ago? Here's our AXA Advisors Reds lineup for this afternoon. Cozart, Heisey, and Votto, the top 3. Phillips, Bruce, and Ludwig in the middle. Frazier, after 1 day, not in the lineup due to back spasms, is in 7-hole. Hannigan and Bronson Arroyo. And here's Justin Verlander. His numbers courtesy of Jose Cuervo.
His numbers really speak for themselves. You run out of superlatives when you talk about a pitcher like Justin Verlander. MVP, Cy Young Award winner, has already thrown a no-hitter this year. Earlier in the year, nearly threw a no-hitter against the Pittsburgh Pirates. Overpowering fastball, averages about 94, but his breaking stuff equally as good.
He gets Cozart to get this game started on the Reds half. Offensively, Zach .250 with 6 home runs, 14 runs batted in. Fair pitch last night. Gotten off to a pretty good start here in the month of June.
You know, the interesting thing really is you watch Verlander pitch, you're going to see the fluctuations in the speed of his fastball anywhere from 90 to 91 to about 98 or 99. He doesn't always throw as hard as he can on every pitch. Always saves a little bit in the tank for when he needs it.
He's a Virginia native who played collegiately at not exactly a baseball powerhouse, Chris, in the CAA. Old Dominion.
Old Dominion's produced some pretty good ball players along, though. He was a number 1 draft pick for the Tigers, the 2nd taken overall. That was back in 2004.
Those are on a strikeout, but those last 2 were that off-speed stuff. Take a look at the Tigers defensively now behind Verlander, brought to you by your Ford dealers. They have Young, Jackson, and Bosch across the outfield. Cabrera, Santiago, Worth, and Fielder on the infield. Gerald Laird catches Justin Verlander, making his 13th start of the year.
And you go back to that 2004 draft when Verlander was taken first by the Tigers, 2nd in the draft overall. That was the year that the Padres chose first. They chose Matt Bush. That didn't work out quite as well. And it was also the year that the Reds chose 7th in the draft and picked up Homer Bailey.
Verlander has not won since the 18th of May. In fact, he's lost 3 starts in a row. He lost at Cleveland on the 24th of May, lost at Boston on the 29th, and then lost at home to the Yankees his last time out. There's a look at those numbers.
Yeah, but still, I mean, you're on a 3-game losing streak, but you still went 8 innings in 1 game and only gave up 2 runs. You get 6 and 3. That's a quality start. So, you know, 2 of the last 3 that he's lost have been quality starts. So by a lot of barometers, you'd say, hey, we'll take that. Of course, you raise the bar of expectation when this guy takes the mound.
Leads the American League in strikeouts with 86 and 87 2/3. He's the reigning strikeout champion in the American League also. In fact, he was the Triple Crown winner in the American League last year from a pitching standpoint. And how rare is it? You had 2 of them last year. Clayton Kershaw won the Triple Crown from the Dodgers and Verlander from the Tigers.
That is very rare to see that happen, first of all, in either league at all, but to see it happen in both leagues in the same year, that's very odd.
In case you're unfamiliar with the pitching Triple Crown, it's wins, ERA, and strikeouts. And offensively, it's average home run RBI. Hasn't been a Triple Crown winner in terms of batting since Carl Yastrzemski way back in 1967.
A good bat right here by Chris Heisey. You know, just fouling it off, taking a look, showing his teammates, you know, the delivery of Verlander. Everybody's already studied him on video, but, you know, it's different when you get to see him live.
Straight up in the outfield and the infield for Chris Heisey. He's battling against Verlander here. Heisey in last night's game, 2 hits, 2 out of 5. That single he had in the 3rd inning snapped a 1 for 21 hole he had been in. Trying to get it going for the month of June after putting up 300+ average in May. Really getting a chance to play every day now. Now in center with Stubbs currently out, but not on the DL. Before that, out in left field. And a full count. Votto looming next for the Reds. Ninth pitch of the at-bat. Check, swing, ball 4.
No, it isn't.
No appeal. I didn't see a strike call by the umpire.
Well, a very modest strike call as far as being physically demonstrative. Dusty Baker wants to know what's going on down there. Was it ball 4 or not? No, he's saying go to the dugout. You're out.
Tom Hallion, from my
can't decide.
Never made a signal. Here comes Dusty now out of the Reds dugout. Was there a call, strike 3, or was there not? Dusty is saying, I think, the same thing that I'm saying. I didn't see a strike call. Take a look.
Yeah, we'll take a look at the box tracks on that. It was a breaking ball. Where it lands, it doesn't matter. It's where it crosses the plate. Is it knee high or not? And it probably was. Left knee is where it's got to be. This one over here.
But look at Tom Hallion, Chris. He never moves.
Oh, it's a strike.
He never says strike 3, never gives a signal. So 2 batters, 2 strikeouts, and here's Votto. I mean, you have to admit that's odd.
It is odd. Different umpires have different strike calls with their bodies, their arms. Of course, you always strike call with the right hand. Some guys are very demonstrative. Other guys do it a little quieter.
Let's see how
as
he
quiet
is.
as you can get right there for Hallion.
Yeah, we'll see how he is the rest of the day in terms of called third strikes. Maybe he said it, but he certainly didn't signal it.
I mean, more than anything else, if you're Chris Heisey, you're embarrassed because you're not sure what to do. Heisey doesn't want to show up the umpire, so he goes down to first base, and now there's confusion going on. And you know, it's bad enough you strike out. You don't have to be called out and have to, you know, be kind of placed out there.
So 2-2 now to Votto.
Well, Votto, you know, we showed you great numbers about Justin Verlander. Then this is a great matchup because you've got in the National League ranks, second in batting average, first in on base and walk, second in average with runners in scoring position. I mean, the guy's the full package right here. This is a matchup that you'd love to see happen every day.
Well, Verlander right now at 17, make that on that foul ball. 18 pitches here in the first inning, so if nothing else, Reds are making him work.
Well, the average is right around 15, so he's already over his average, but you know, the interesting thing about this matchup is that Joey Votto has a reputation. You can see it on video. You can see it in scouting reports that he'll foul off that fastball just to stay alive, to make sure that he doesn't get way out ahead of the breaking ball.
Votto, strike 3.
Wow.
So Verlander strikes out the side. Reds go quietly in the bottom of number 1. Cozart swinging. Heisey looking. Votto swinging. Leads things off here in the top of inning number 2. Scoreless game thus far. Fielder hitless last night, 0 for 4. He did reach base on a second inning walk, but that 0 for last night snapped his 14-game hitting streak. And he's down 2 strikes here. Fielder comes in 6th in the league in hitting at .312. 9 homers, 37 runs batted in. Bronson has really done a pretty good job against him. He has 10 hits against Arroyo, but a .238 career average. Reds shift him defensively. Cozart almost behind second base. And Fielder on an off-speed delivery strikes out for out number 1. Take a look at our Elk and Elk storyline for today's game. Start with Bronson Arroyo.
Somebody as good as he is, I mean, there's no one in the game you could say that's better than Justin Verlander right now, and going against a guy like that, you can't expect to get more than a couple of runs. I mean, if you get 2, I'd be happy to tell you the truth. So, we'll see what happens.
Today's storyline's brought to you by Elk and Elk. Serious lawyers for serious injuries. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO. You talk about 2 pitchers with totally different styles. That's really what we have here today.
It really just goes to show you that you don't have to fit in a certain box to be a major league pitcher. I mean, at one time, Arroyo threw hard enough to merit attention from major league scouts. But he's figured out how to survive. I mean, here he is throwing his fastball this year anywhere from 86 to 88, sometimes 90 miles an hour. But he's learned how to pitch. And for me, he's one of the more enjoyable guys to watch because he just gives you the belief that anybody who can spin the ball up there can do it. I mean, it's like playing a chess game with Bronson Arroyo.
Well, you don't survive as a pitcher in the big leagues when you're 35 unless you have an idea of what you're doing out there.
Well, believe me, he doesn't want to quit at age 36 either. He wants to be around for a while. He feels good physically. He's had back problems throughout his career, had a wrist problem a couple of years ago that bothered him. But he loves to compete.
And at 1-2, he gets a strikeout of Delman Young, so he racks up his 3rd. We've already had a total of 6 strikeouts in this game.
You know, the weird thing about facing a guy like Bronson Arroyo is that you can take batting practice from dawn till dusk, but you do not practice hitting pitches like this. You see the rotation on that curveball, kind of a 1 o'clock to 7 o'clock spin on it. Good shot of our Exmo camera out of center field, brought to you by Performance Honda. That's a great shot today. We put it out there in center field because you knew that there'd be 2 pitchers out there really doing it their own particular styles, and we'll give you a good look at the spins of those pitches.
Now it's Ramon Santiago now with 2 out. The switch hitter bats from the left side. The shortstop in the 6th hole today after batting 8 last night. Comes in under 200 at 196. Last night 1 for 4. He's moved over to the shortstop spot today. He drives this ball well toward right field, and that leaves the ballpark. Over the 370 mark, Ramon Santiago gets his 2nd home run of the year. And the Tigers have taken a 1-0 lead.
Now it just goes to show you that in this ballpark, anybody and everybody is dangerous, including Ramon Santiago, who bops his 2nd home run of the year. I mean, if you'd have taken a poll of everybody in this ballpark, and it's a sold-out house, who would hit the first home run in this ball game? The last guy on that list would probably be the guy that just hit it.
Seriously, probably even Arroyo would be ahead of him. Now it's Gerald Laird. With that home run hit by Ramon Santiago, another $12,000 has been raised to support prostate cancer research. To make a donation, you can call 800-798-CURE or go online to www.pcf.org. Frazier on the broken bat ground ball. Out to first, and Laird is retired, and so are the Tigers. But they get a home run ball from Ramon Santiago. Who? Santiago. Tigers lead 1-0. Premium today and get over 150 select spring training games with no blackouts and every regular season game live or on demand on your favorite devices. Visit Reds.com for all the details. Ramon Santiago hit a home run, has given the Tigers the lead. His first of the year came on June the 1st. That was in Detroit against CC Sabathia. This is a guy who's hitting under 100 batting from the right side, and yet he launched one against the big left-hander last week, and he hits one here against Arroyo. And now Verlander faces the middle of the Reds order. Phillips, Bruce, Ludwig. Struck out the side in the first inning. Brandon comes in at 270, 6 home runs, 31 runs batted in. Last night 1 for 5. That swinging bunt RBI single in the first. Hammered but fouled on the left field side. This guy Phillips, who this year has done much better against right-handers than lefties. He's at 319 against right-handed pitching, 164 against lefties. His career is better the other way, but this year a big discrepancy toward the plus side against right-handers. Those 5 home runs against right-handers, and of the 6 he has hit this year, 5 of them in this ballpark. Tigers trying to even this series. Tomorrow the finale is a 8 o'clock game here at Great American Ballpark tomorrow night. Nationally televised game will feature Homer Bailey against Drew Smiley. Homer at 4-4, Smiley at 2-2. And an off day for the Reds on Monday, and then interleague play continues with Cleveland coming in beginning Tuesday. This is the 4th batter he has faced, talking about Verlander, and the 3rd consecutive. Has been up there with a full count against him. None of these Reds in the lineup today have faced Verlander before. In fact, the only player on the Reds team from an active standpoint that has faced him is Miguel Cairo. He's 1 out of 5. Cabrera will throw out Phillips at first. That's out number 1. Verlander after a loss. How about those numbers?
Yeah, then they lost last night, so you know that after he's lost 3 in a row and his ball club lost last night, he started 28 games after a Tigers loss, and he's 20-5. Earned run average under 1. Opponent batting average not too good. He simply lights out, and he is the definition of a stopper.
Here's Bruce hitting .263. Team highs in homers and RBIs, 13 and 37. 1 for 4 last night. Everybody, in fact, in the Reds lineup starter had a hit last night. Reds pounded out 15 hits, a season high for them. Driven to right by Bruce. He's going to get 1. Let's see if he's going to try for 2. He is. Here comes the throw. Not in time. Brennan Bosch got over to that ball, but Bruce had it right in front of him. He made the decision. Gets into second with a double.
Excellent hustle by Jay Bruce. He knew coming out of the batter's box that a single wasn't going to be good enough. And he was going to go for 2. He hits it down the line, and he's busting it hard. He's not a real fast runner. He's about average. But he takes a chance right there. He knows what it's like to play left field out there, and he just beats the throw into second base. A good hard slide, too. He does not slide slowing down going into second. He goes right in there as hard as he can.
So Jay Bruce is safe at second. Safe and secure.
New York life.
Scoring opportunity now for the Reds. Down 1-0 here in the bottom of the second. Ludwig chases that one for strike 1.
Well, the Reds' game plan, and talking to some of the guys around the batting cage, is pretty much look for the fastball. I mean, because his breaking ball is so good, you may get it with 2 strikes. You may look for it at that point, but don't go up there early on waving at stuff that you really can't hit. Example, Brian Ludwig on that first pitch.
Well, he's getting his best shot at playing every day right now with Drew Stubbs temporarily out of the lineup. Been a good RBI man for the Reds this year. He was 1 for 5 last night. You look at his average, it's .214, and you say, well, that's a terrible number, and in the overall scheme of things, it's not great. But remember, he has spent most of this year under 200, so his average is starting to climb. Justin Verlander making his 22nd interleague start. He's done very well against the National Leaguers to the tune of 16-2 with a 2.75 ERA. Bruce out at second. 1 man out, bottom of the second. Jay's double is 15. He represents the tying run. Tigers leading 1-0 on the strength of the Ramon Santiago solo home run to right center in the top of this inning. Frazier back and starting at third base in this game. Waits on deck. Appeal denied. It's Angel Hernandez.
Well, with a big crowd here at Great American Ballpark, there is a sizable portion of it coming in here in dark blue Tigers garb. And they're scattered throughout. A lot of Tigers fans in this area. They don't travel quite as much as we see of the Chicago Cubs, but they have an avid fan base, no doubt.
What do you guess that is? About 4 hours from here or so?
I would say. That depends if you or I were driving or if Tom Brenneman was driving.
Who would get there quicker?
Well, I think it's probably more like 3+ if it's Brenneman and 4+ for us. And now there's something wrong with Verlander.
Jeff Jones, the pitching coach, who wore a path between the dugout and the mound last night, going out there, is going to the hill. Most of the infield, in fact, everyone except Worth.
If there was something physically wrong with Verlander, they'd probably have the trainer out there too. So it might be a little bit of a level of frustration. Here he's thrown 37 pitches, and he's not through the second inning yet. The Reds are doing a great job in fouling pitches off, working the count, trying to wear him down a little bit. And quite frankly, that's not somewhere where this ball club has really excelled so far this year. So the game plan that they've developed, Brooks Jacoby, the hitting coach, and Dusty have gotten together with him, and if it's trying to wear Verlander out, so far they're on the right track.
This is his 4th 3-2 count already in the game. He had Ludwig at 0-2. Now it's 3-2. And he gets the strikeout, his 4th.
Well, a full count again, and this time he just takes that breaking ball and drives it straight down.
Miguel Cabrera went out to the mound and was talking with Verlander, and he goes over and talks with his shortstop, Santiago.
That little stare down that happened last night between Miguel Cabrera and Todd Frazier got all ironed out during batting practice today. In fact, Miguel Cabrera played baseball with Todd Frazier's brother. And he came up to him and said, "How's your brother?" He said, "My brother's fine, but what about you staring me down last night?" You know, being a Jersey guy, he's going to lay it right out there. That's what Frazier did to Cabrera. He goes, "Hey, heat of the moment. I got involved in it. You got involved in it. No problem. We're good." And that's the way they left it.
Good way to be. Todd's older brother Jeff played in the Tigers organization. In fact, was a teammate of Cabrera up here, 2-3 years ago.
He may have gone in there to tell Verlander, "Hey, don't go into any inside fastballs." The way this guy rocketed the one down the line last night, I didn't see it.
Yeah, he has been unbelievable as a pinch hitter to the tune of 6 for 7. Santiago will throw the fielder, and Frazier is gone. And the Reds waste the 1-out double by Bruce. So we're through 2 on this Saturday afternoon. Detroit 1-0 leaders. Up to $205 million. Drawing is at 11 tonight. Ohio Lottery Powerball jackpot, $205 million. Chris, take note of that.
I'm on it.
205. Third inning now. Danny Worth, who did not start but did get into the game last night. Played second base, had one at bat and flied out. Leads things off for Jimmy Leland's ball club. Hitting 186 with a couple of RBIs. Mentioned last night at the top of the open that the Tigers have won 4 world championships, the last one coming back in 1984. They defeated the San Diego Padres. As Worth out in front of that one swings and misses, so 4 strikeouts apiece in this game for these starting pitchers. A reminder that as you enjoy a cold one this afternoon, we look forward to our Miller Time moment of the game coming up a little bit later on, brought to you by Miller Lite. Right at Votto. Verlander's bid for his first ever big league hit. Thwarted by Joey. He's now 0 for 21.
Well, he got a fastball first pitch. Bronson said, here it is, I'll give you a shot. And he hit a line drive right into the glove of Votto. So I would imagine next time up there, Arroyo may show him what a curveball's all about.
2 out, nobody on. Austin Jackson struck out his first time.
That's a key right there. You see that fastball that Arroyo sinks it. He's able to throw it on the corner outside. That is just enough to keep the hitter honest. Man, lay it right on the black. It's like reaching into your paint kit, getting that number 7 detail brush. Brush it right down the outside line.
Here's a guy, Arroyo, who does not really put up good numbers when he's pitching during the day. In fact, he's admitted he'd rather pitch at night, and his ERA shows it this year. A 6.07 during day games and a 2.29 during night games. So far, so good today. Did you have a preference, Chris?
No, I really never. I didn't break it down like that, and I don't even think back in those days they really kept those kind of records. I mean, if you ask him, yeah, he'd rather pitch at night. I didn't think that the numbers would be that dramatic. I thought he got over that last year. So what do you call a 4 o'clock game?
I call this one a late afternoon affair.
Good.
Ask of Justin Verlander today. Jim Day with you, and I talked to Brandon Phillips about this game, and he told me that his father messaged him saying, "Son, we're coming down to Saturday's game. Can't wait to see you play in person again." Well, check that. Maybe it didn't go that way. Take a listen to Brandon.
I'm looking forward to facing them. I mean, why not? You always want to play the best. You always want to beat the best. You know, just like earlier today, me and my parents, we was talking, and I was like, I said, "Oh, man, thanks for coming to see me." She's like, "We didn't come to see you. We came to see Justin Verlander pitch in person." I was like, "Well, dang, thanks, family. It's nice to see y'all, too." He's like, "Don't take it like that. We see you play all the time." So I was like, "It's all good, man."
So how's that? Can't even get support from the fam today. Justin Verlander's ahead. In fact, he's one of those few guys in Major League Baseball that fans would pay to see pitch, and it's a full house today.
Well, indeed, Verlander has 4 strikeouts through the first 2 innings, and that's really what Dusty Baker said before the game as well. You have to look at it as a challenge to get out there and face this guy. You want to face him, not to ask out of the lineup. Worth fields that ground ball by Hannigan. 1 pitch, 1 out here in the bottom of the 3rd. Verlander here in the 3rd inning. He has an incredible streak going. 54 straight starts in which he has gone 6 innings or more. 54 then heading into today's game.
You know, that really means the most to, other than Jim Leyland, is the bullpen. I mean, they go down there and they know for the first 6 or 7 innings they can pretty much play cards, watch TV, fall asleep, read a book.
Those are your habits in the pen. What do the rest of the guys do?
And you know, maybe talk to the fans, bargain some baseballs for hot dogs, things like that.
Right.
And you know, you got the day off, really, especially if you're a long reliever. A long reliever, you may not even have to show the ballpark. You just go bowling today on the day when Verlander takes the mound.
Cowboy were down there, he'd be ordering pizza.
Fried chicken.
Or some fried chicken. Arroyo 3 hits this year, 3 out of 17. That's here with 1 out.
Didn't want that one to hit him.
There's the Tom Hallion strike 3 call right there that we did not see earlier with Heisey up there. Reds fans, if a Reds home run hits the Toyota sign during today's game, Tamara Southrada from Oxford, Ohio, will win this beautiful new Tundra on display here at Great American Ballpark. Register for your chance to win at an upcoming game by seeing your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. Bosch near the line makes the catch of that ball by Cozart. So quick and easy in the 3rd for the Reds against Verlander. Question for this Saturday afternoon. Who are the 3 most recent managers who didn't play in the majors but won a World Series title? 3 most recent managers who didn't play in the big leagues but won a World Series title. Mull it over. Talk amongst yourself. Find out. Three inning totals: 1 run, 1 hit. No errors, Detroit. 0-1-0 Reds, who have left the only base runner thus far. Brennan Bosch, 3-hit game last night. 5 hits in his last 2 games after going 2 for his last 38 prior to that. Edge of the grass at third is Frazier. Chased by 3 Reds. Can anybody get it? Frazier is closest, and Todd can't get it. Bosch missed the last month of the season last year, and then, of course, did not get involved in the playoffs. He had a torn tendon in his left thumb. Hit .283 last year with 16 home runs. .236 at the start of the day today.
Well, they've got high hopes for Brennan Bosch, but the fact is that he's 27 years old now. He's not as young as, say, Jay Bruce. He hasn't shown the kind of power overall as Bruce, even though he is immensely strong. I mean, you watch him in batting practice playing pepper, you know, with the upper levels of that sun deck out there in right field.
Right at Brandon. And the first out recorded here in the top of the 4th.
So far, so good for Bronson Arroyo. Only 1 mistake pitch and off speed. Looked like changeup to Ramon Santiago. But other than that, it's what he's shown is that his curveball is very tight today. He's throwing it for strikes at different arm angles, sometimes sidearm, sometimes straight over the top like that. That's what he calls his 12-6 curveball because of the way the numbers on a stopwatch or a watch are. From 12 o'clock to 6 o'clock, he'll throw it sidearm from 9 to 3 and everywhere in between.
Here's Cabrera with 1 man out. Hit one hard right back at Bronson his first time.
Yeah, when he hit it back at Bronson, the ball bounded away, and Cabrera went down the line pointing either at Arroyo or at where the baseball was. Kind of an odd play.
What's Arroyo, the Gold Glove winner 2 years ago?
Well, he's been ahead of hitters all game long. Thrown a lot of very good quality strikes on the first pitch of that fastball, and then kind of putting them away with a myriad of off-speed stuff.
More often than not, Chris, it seems like he runs into 1 inning per game that kind of does him in on occasion.
Yeah, and you really don't know when it's going to come, right, and you can't predict it by watching his stuff. That's why it seems like this year a couple of times that he's been left in the ball game too long, one game, taken out too early the next game. But you really just never know. You have to kind of go by feel. He is one pitcher, though, that will tell you the truth. When you go out there in the 7th or the 8th inning, you ask him, how do you feel? If he's tired, he'll tell you, I'm tired. Some guys will say, wait, I'll never tell a manager that I want to come out. They think it's less than manly to tell the truth.
I guess they'd like it better if they left the game and they knew they were going to get the victory, or the team was going to get the win.
Mm-hmm.
Fielder waiting on deck. 1 out, 4th inning. Votto with a nice backhand pick, And Arroyo covers for a 3-1 putout. Joey stayed right with that ball.
Boy, he has turned himself into one heck of a fielder. I mean, originally drafted as a catcher. They tried him at third base. That didn't work. They tried him a little bit in the outfield in the minor leagues. They preferred him at first base. But even when he first came up, he was no Gold Glover when he first came up. But he gets out there every day and takes a lot of ground balls of all different sorts, backhands, forehands, charging ground balls. He works and works and works at it just like his hitting.
Fielder deep and a 2-0 game. About 6 rows up, right ahead of the 370 mark out in the sun deck. Prince Fielder, his 10th home run of the year, and in this ballpark, his 12th. He's hit 12 here. That's second most of any ballpark on the road in his career.
Well, he's got Arroyo now 5 times on the long ball. A solo shot, second solo shot of the ball game, and that was a hanger. Prince took the softball swing on that one.
Delman Young, who laid one out of here last night, rolls this one to Cozart, and the inning comes to an end. But another solo homer. With that home run, another $12,000 on the blast by Prince Fielder has been raised to support prostate cancer research. To make a donation, you can call 800-798-CURE or online at www.pcf.org. And today's answer: who are the 3 most recent managers who didn't play in the big leagues but won a World Series title? One of them here, of course, Jimmy Leland in 1997, Jack McKeon in 2003 with the Marlins, Earl Weaver, Baltimore Orioles. Good question today. AT&T trivia question. Heisey first up, home fourth. Verlander, no walks, 5 strikeouts thus far. 91 Ks on the year, tops in the American League. That big curve Chris has been talking about.
Well, the difference in velocity between that curveball and his fastball is down and up as fast as 95, 96 today. And that one right around 76. So, you're taking 20 miles an hour off.
First hitter of the inning for the Reds is aboard. Heisey gets the hit. Second hit by the Reds in the game. Brings up Votto.
Heisey is suddenly, and I don't mean suddenly, but over the last week or so, maybe 2 weeks, seems to be more and more comfortable with that breaking ball. I mean, that was a pitch that was his real Achilles heel when he was coming off the bench and then getting some spot starts, and he would chase that pitch down away in the dirt, and he wouldn't look good doing it. But he looks more calm at the plate now. He looks like he's more confident. And I guess the more he sees it, the more he's be able to make an adjustment.
Well, he's aboard, leads away at first. Fielder holds him there. Here's Joey. Votto struck out his first time.
Well, he waits a long time before he pulls that trigger, doesn't he?
Even in batting practice, he's doing that all the time. Brings that 14-game hitting streak in. He's hitting .549 during the streak. He's equaled his career best with the 14-gamer. Kept it going early. Had that infield hit last night in the first inning. His other 14-game streak back in 2009. And he's down 2 strikes.
Verlander dialing it up on that last pitch. That's his best fastball of the day at 96.
First time the Reds have had the leadoff man on in this game thus far is Heisey with that base hit. Inside outs it to left does Votto, and Young battles it and cannot come up with the ball. Here goes Heisey racing to third. Votto is in at second. Boy, you could see Delman Young battling that sun out there. Hit the leather, rolled away. Second and third with nobody out.
Well, you talk about home field advantage, and this might be it for the Reds because they're out here taking batting practice every day, this time of day. And it's very rarely do you see a 4 o'clock start or a 3 o'clock start or anything late in the afternoon. So when you get down to 5 o'clock, that sun is bearing right in your eyes if you're in left field. Heisey's watching, and he sees Young have trouble with it, and he's going to bust it into third. Meanwhile, right on his tail is Joey Votto, who waltzes right into second.
That's a double for Votto, his 26th of the year. That gives him now a 15-game hitting streak, the best of his career, and it equals the 15-gamer that Brandon Phillips had 2 years ago. 36th extra base hit of the year. Also tops in the National League, Joey Votto. So now a great chance for the Reds. Tying runs in scoring position. Nobody out. Brandon grounded out his first time.
Now the Tigers are giving up the run, and Brandon can make contact anywhere but back to the pitcher or first base. Everybody else in the infield has given up a run in exchange for an out.
Verlander works from the windup. Right out in front of the plate. Runners can't move anywhere on that.
Or catcher.
That's exactly who makes the play, Gerald Laird.
Well, 3 pitches in this at bat. Let's take a look at it. Our Mazda pitch by pitch. Verlander starts him off with a high fastball, and Brandon swings right through it. That's a tough one to catch up to. Then he comes with a slow curve right over the top. Misses outside, and then Brandon's aggressive here looking for a fastball, gets a curveball. He tops it right in front of the plate. And a 3-pitch ground ball, 2-3 for the first out of the inning.
So now here's Bruce. Hit one hard, doubled into right field back in the second. Does that same thing here, and the Reds will tie the score.
That's the one you've got to lay off of. 100 miles an hour on that one. Aroldis Chapman out in the Reds bullpen said, hey, that's my pitch. Isn't it kind of interesting, though? We said at the very beginning, I had scouts tell me this, that he'll kind of toy his fastball anywhere from 90, 91, all the way up to 99 or 100. Now he needs a strikeout. He's got second and third, and he's got something in the tank. There are only a handful of pitchers in baseball that can do that.
That's 3 straight at triple digits from Verlander.
Good night. And this is really what pitching is all about. Here's a guy with a gifted arm. He's nearly every bit as gifted as Aroldis Chapman, but he's turned himself into a pitcher with that extra gear just in case he needs it.
Four of them in a row. And a strikeout at Bruce. Now, you can't help but wonder, Chris, watching Verlander and listening to you talk, that if we are seeing here in Verlander what we might see in the future of Chapman.
Well, you might. I mean, but Verlander is every bit as special as Aroldis Chapman. And, I mean, this ball is just right by Bruce time after time after time. Doesn't mess around with him. Says, you know what? I'm the man, and you're not, and here it is at a honey. We'll see if you can hit it.
So now Ryan Ludwig. Verlander is sitting on 4 consecutive pitches at 100 miles per hour.
I think right now what separates Chapman and Verlander, I mean, other than the fact that Verlander's won 112 games in the major leagues, is his ability to throw that breaking ball at so many different speeds. I mean, he's got nearly as many wins in his career, 112, as Bronson Arroyo, 114. But he's done it at about 90 fewer starts.
Yeah, Arroyo 302, and Verlander coming in at 211. In terms of games started in the career, big difference right there.
I mean, just a very special guy. And here the Reds have their best scoring opportunity, and nobody out. Runners at second and third. Middle of the lineup up, number 4 and 5 guy, and he takes control. That's what you have to lay off of right there, and a good job by Ludwig to get the bases loaded.
First walk issued by Verlander. Reds have him loaded with 2 out for Todd Frazier. Rounded out to the shortstop, Santiago, his first time. Todd trying to come through in the clutch. Yesterday, the Reds 5 out of 14 with runners in scoring position. As a team, up to 230 in that department. Six home runs, 16 RBIs on the year for Frazier. Reds at every base with 2 out. Here's one at 101. Reds had a 1-out double in the second by Bruce. He was stranded, went down in order in the first and third. 2 hits and a walk have loaded him here in the fourth, and Frazier delivers a base hit into right. Heisey will score. Votto will come to the plate, and he will score. And the game is tied 2-2 on a 2-run single to right by Todd Frazier against Verlander.
Boy, Todd Frazier, he can hit that fastball. That ball up and really out of the strike zone, but he's looking for a piece of cheese, just like he did last night when he lined one down the left field line. This one up near 100 miles an hour into right field. 18 runs batted in this year for Frazier, and no 2 bigger than those.
At 101 miles an hour, we've seen Frazier not be able to catch up with that pitch sometimes, but he got that thing out there and cracked it into right. Now Hannigan, first and third with 2 out. Go-ahead run is Ludwig over at third. Well, that play in left looms large, isn't it? By Delman Young.
Oh, huge. Yeah, that's the advantage that you're looking for. Take advantage of whatever you possibly can when you're facing a guy like Verlander. A little thing like that turns huge.
Knee buckler there on Hannigan, who's down now 2 strikes. Tigers get a single run in the second on a solo homer by Santiago, another in the fourth on a blast by Fielder. Reds have come back with 2 thus far. A 2-run single to right by Frazier. Frazier now with 14 runs batted in the 21 games he has started at third since Scott Rowland went on the DL. It's pretty impressive.
It is. Young man taking advantage of his opportunity. Well, not only is Verlander throwing hard in this inning, but the Reds have made him work. After giving him a real quick inning in the third, a 6-pitch inning in the third inning, he's back up over 24 right now, up to 70 pitches, and he's still in the bottom of the 4th inning. The sooner you get in the bullpen in one of his games, the better.
Hannigan does a good job there of staying alive on that 2-2 pitch. They are following, really, the Reds are your checklist to a T here, aren't they?
Well, it's obvious that, you know, you're not going to blow the guy out. You've got to take advantage of whatever it was. One of the parts of the checklist was just have good strike zone management.
That one caught Laird, the Tiger catcher, on the shin guard, it appeared. And all that padding on those shin guards, yet you take one on a direct shot, it buckles you.
Can't cover everything. Right above the knee right there, and I'll tell you, Hannigan has been there. So is Tom Hallion, the umpire.
New supply of baseballs brought out to Tom Hallion, all in a gesture of helping Gerald Laird catch his breath, get his feet under him again. Now everybody ready. Here's Frazier, that 2-run single against Verlander that has tied this game here in the bottom of the 4th. Verlander, a very good pickoff move. He has 21 pickoffs since 2006, second most by a right-hander in the big leagues.
Well, a lot of it is quick feet. And the other fact you would think in that whole equation is that when you get a runner on, you're so anxious to try to get a runner in scoring position because you know in one particular inning with a batting average against around 200, it's hard to string 3 hits together in an inning to score runs. So you've got to somehow get a runner to second. So maybe you're telling guys that aren't used to stealing bases to try to steal bases, and he picks up on it and picks them off.
Still another 3-2 count with a runner going and a foul ball. Verlander will now throw a 75th pitch, the 8th of this at bat. Reds had 4 early 3-2 counts. Now this is the 5th of the afternoon against Verlander with Hannigan at the dish. He spoils another one.
this is the kind of an inning that can test your stamina if you're a pitcher. If you're Verlander, you're glad you do the extra sprints, the extra weight work, the extra conditioning, so that an inning like this, 29 pitches right now, doesn't take it out of you coming back for number 5 and 6.
30th pitch of the inning. And he gets a strikeout of Hannigan. Ryan is 0 for 2. 2 strikeouts in the inning and 7 in the game. But a 2-run single by Frazier. The game is even. Reds Baseball on Fox Sports Ohio is brought to you by the JTM Food Group, creating great dishes together with the food service industry for over 30 years. By your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. For over 30 Toyota offers available now, visit buyatoyota.com, including mobile. And by AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible.
Well, you compare the two pitchers, and we've done that really from the onset of this afternoon, how different they are in styles. Well, yes, they are. Look at the percentage of fastballs and breaking balls that each of these pitchers throws. Verlander normally up around 61%. Today he's only 54% fastballs. Bronson Arroyo, he's about where he normally is. More breaking balls, more off-speed stuff than fastballs. Of course, in that off-speed, we combine changeups, sliders, curveballs, and everything in between that Bronson Arroyo throws up there in that off speed. But when it comes down to throwing that breaking ball, I mean, that's where they are similar. Arroyo has thrown a breaking ball in the 60s today as far as miles per hour, and Verlander's thrown them in the 70s. Most of the time Arroyo will throw a curveball in the 70s, just about the same as Verlander does.
Joey backed up on the ball and got it. Feeds Arroyo. Nicely done on a 3-1 putout.
Good play by Votto, but let's take a look at the breaking pitches from each of these pitchers. On the left is Bronson Arroyo, pulls down with his middle finger. On the right is Verlander. Good high arm angle right there. Look at the extension that Verlander has, and that comes way up there. And Arroyo the same way. Now we'll let Verlander's fastball go. And you see, you know, when you look at the fastball and the breaking ball, you'd think that the revolutions per minute on a breaking ball is more than a fastball. But not so. There's nearly twice as many, at least, revolutions on a fastball than there is on a curveball. So go figure.
One of those optical illusions. Laird grounded out to Frazier at third his first time. And singles here. He's been hitting the ball pretty well this year. Laird last night had a couple of hits, both singles, and he gets a 1-out base hit here in the 5th. 3 hits for the Tigers now, and the first 2, of course, left the ballpark. Reds fans, if you're in the restaurant industry, let JTM Food Group help you with great tasting, healthier products for your menu. That's JTM. Worth slices this ball into right, down in front of Bruce. The Tigers put back-to-back hits together. Out of their 7 and 8 hitters, will bring up Verlander with 2 on and 1 out.
Well, this is where if Verlander gets the green light to swing, which he probably will not. Gene Lamont, third base coach, been a manager a couple of different places, good baseball guys. Tell him, in case you don't know the bunt sign, here it is. B-U-N-T. Bunt.
Make no mistake about it, what you are doing.
Now, really what he wants to do is bunt it hard down the third baseline, makes Todd Frazier field it. This is where, though, you got to catch a running at second, slow runner. You can get that runner at third base easily as long as Arroyo breaks and gets over to the third baseline. And he's going to make him bunt a curveball. A lot of people say that high fastball is the hardest one to bunt, and when you're throwing it 100 miles an hour, it is. But when you throw your fastball at 88, it's not that difficult to bunt, even for a pitcher. But that curveball is one that you don't practice very much.
Now he's down 2 strikes. I don't guess, though, that's really going to matter here, do you think?
Well, I wouldn't think so, but Jim Leyland has been known to be somewhat wily, and you just never know what he's got up his sleeve.
Now let's see. Verlander has 5 sack bunts in his career. He gets it down.
Well, he dropped down on him that time through a sidearm curveball, and Verlander got it down. How about that?
Kick off your weekend on Friday, June the 22nd here at GABP, and cheer on your Reds when they take on the Minnesota Twins. Stick around after the game for a Q&A with Hall of Fame inductee Sean Casey and friends, plus a post-game fireworks show featuring a Hall of Fame summer soundtrack thanks to Jeff Weiler Automotive Family. For tickets to this exciting night, call 513-381-REDS, visit select Kroger locations, or go to Reds.com. Sean Casey, of course, going into the Reds Hall of Fame in June. 2-out fly ball to right. Bruce is going to get it. Jackson is gone. He's 0 for 3. Threat thwarted here in the top of the 5th. proud to support the Boys and Girls Clubs of America, a place where youth can reach their full potential as productive, caring, responsible citizens. To learn more, please visit greatfutures.org/Fox Sports. Bottom of the fifth upcoming, a 2-2 game. You see the totals identical, 2-4 and 0 on both sides. Tigers have stranded 2. Reds have left on 3. 2 home runs in this game by the Tigers, one in the second inning by Santiago, another by Prince Fielder in the fourth. Means that 55 straight games now here at Great American Ballpark, there has been a home run hit dating back to the 29th of July last year. It's the longest active ballpark homer streak going in the big leagues right now, and it is a GABP record, so 55 straight games with a long ball. And Arroyo will get it started here in the Reds' fifth. Verlander, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. Gave up a couple of runs in the bottom of the fourth after being spotted the lead. So here come the Reds now with 9-1-2 against the 29-year-old. Reds trying to get back to, if they can get there, with a win today, 8 games above the 500 mark. That's been their high mark. They won that second game of the series down in Houston and went to 30-22. Here they are, 32-25 now.
Now with nobody on base, Verlander back down the low 90s.
Cabrera in on the edge of the grass at third. Coming the 80th pitch now, the 80th pitch of the game for Verlander. Arroyo smacks that one out into left field. Reds get the leadoff man on for the second inning in a row. Hit number 5 for the Redlegs.
Well, he'll want to talk about that after the ball game. I can guarantee you. He gave him 2 curveballs in a row, and he really flinched on the first one. But he hung the second one right up there, and a good swing by Arroyo. Former high school shortstop.
They'll be saying later on, yeah, I got a hit against Verlander. What of it?
He's a pretty humble guy. I'm not so sure he's going to downplay that at all. He's going to say, hey, man, can you believe that? He's over there kidding around with Fielder on it. And how did Bronson do it? Let's take a look at that swing. Reaching way out there. That ball, and he puts a pretty good swing on it. He's a good athlete.
First pitcher to get a hit against Verlander in 3 years. Adam Wainwright of the Cardinals, the last one to do it. Good catch down there by a fan just to the left of the Reds dugout. Cozart has struck out, flied out, 0 for 2. Cozart does appear to be warming to this #1 spot.
Well, you see the troubles that the outfielders are having, at least center and left. That's Delman Young in left field. I mean, every pitch he's got that glove up in front of his face. I got news for you, Delman. It's only going to get worse. It's only 20 till 6. We see that problem happen really until maybe third inning of a game this time of year. Once you start getting into mid-June, the days are very long. That sun doesn't set over the western part of the stadium here until almost 8 o'clock, maybe 8:15, 8:30. So he better have brought his best sunglasses along.
Verlander to second 1, to first 2, and a double play. Make sure you get ready for Reds action. That's 30 minutes before every game with Reds Live on Fox Sports Ohio. Reds Live is everything you need to know to get ready for Reds baseball. And it's brought to you by Ray St. Clair Roofing here on the home of the Reds, Fox Sports Ohio. And then after the game, Fox Sports Ohio breaks it all down. Talks with the skipper, Dusty Baker. Player interviews on the field. Reds Live postgame brought to you by Kings Honda in the Kings Auto Mall. Visit KingsHondaUSA.com. Izzy up there with 2 out. You're talking about Delman Young out there in left. He has been their primary DH this year, but they have used 9 different players in the DH role. In fact, he had made 15 starts this year out in left prior to coming in to this series, so he's not a newcomer out there.
No, but right now, this left field is the toughest left field in all of baseball this time of night. In Major League Baseball, I know that there are some minor league fields and their configurations that are set up similar. In fact, over in Bakersfield, California, there's a time during the ball game where I think they have to take a timeout.
Is there really?
Because the sun's in the batter's eyes.
Well, I know you played at old Cardinal Stadium in Louisville, where the sun on the first baseman and the right fielder there for the early part of the games was virtually invisible.
Yeah. In Pawtucket. AAA for the Red Sox. You have to bounce the ball to the first baseman from the left side of the infield.
Izzy's got his second hit of this game. This is going to be extra bases. He turns it on and heads to second and pulls up there with a 2-out double. Izzy's 2 out of 3. Izzy gets double number 7.
He negotiates another breaking ball right here. Chris Izzy does. I mean, he's beginning to feel a whole lot better at the plate. I mean, you know, when you pitted him in that challenge, I guess you could call it, with Brian Ludwig and who's going to get the most playing time in left, you know, and Dusty would play each of these guys every other day, and you would feel compelled on your day to play that you'd have to do something spectacular. And you squeeze the bat a little bit more, you try a little bit too hard, and you wouldn't get the results. But now he's really settled down, and I think Ludwig has too. And no choice here but to walk the best hitter in the National League.
Fans boo, but yeah, this is the common sense approach if you're Detroit. This will be the 8th intentional pass given to Votto this year, tops in the National League, and so Phillips will get the opportunity with the bases loaded, 2 out.
And now he's getting ready. The first 2 were pretty close to the strike zone. I remember once seeing Pete Rose knock one of those over the shortstop's head, and when a pitcher tried to intentionally walk him, he didn't get it far enough outside. He dropped it into left field and produced a run with it.
I said bases loaded. It's first and second, 2 out now for Phillips. Brandon was up there second and third, nobody out in the 4th, and tapped that ball right out in front of the plate. Joey, the National League leader, of course, in walks. Was so last year, is again this year.
Last time on the first pitch, Verlander threw him a high fastball. Brandon swung right through it, maybe looking for a fastball there. Couldn't hold a swing back, and he committed on that breaking ball.
.290 hitter with runners in scoring position. Phillips trying to come through here in the bottom of the 5th. Verlander now at 98 pitches as he works here in the 5th inning.
Yeah, the most he's thrown this year is 123, but he did that over 8 innings. So here he is only in the 5th.
Well, you nailed it, though, in the pregame. They're really making him work in terms of these at-bats. Another defensive swing by Brandon just to stay up there. So upcoming will be the 100th pitch of the afternoon for Justin Verlander. Talked about Verlander winning both the Cy Young and the MVP in 2011. 10 pitchers in baseball history have done it. The last was Dennis Eckersley back in 1992 for the Oakland Athletics. Roger Clemens did it with Boston in '86. Willie Hernandez in '84 with Detroit did it. Denny McLain did it in '68. So of those 10, 3 have worn Tigers uniforms. There's a list of the last 5 that have done, as they call it there, the rare hardware. Pitchers that have won the Cy Young and the MVP award.
There's a lot of controversy and debate as to whether a pitcher should be able to win the MVP, given the fact that there is already an award, the Cy Young, for the best pitcher.
First one to do it was Don Newcomb back in '56. Sandy Koufax did it as well. Bob Gibson did it. Remember, years ago there was only one Cy Young, and before that there was no Cy Young award. Now they name one in each league and have for years.
Well, Verlander has won 1 Cy. That was last year. He's come in 3rd once, 5th once, 7th, and 11th. So it seems like every year he's in the running. But the Reds have made him work. I mean, here we are in the 5th inning. So one way or another, Jimmy Leland knows it. He's going to have to cover innings, and a lot of them with his bullpen, something that he hoped not to have to do here this afternoon.
Yeah, we talked last night about their bullpen has not been a strong suit at all. Brandon hangs around with another foul ball.
I'd love to see Brandon Phillips give the team this kind of at bat more often.
Go ahead, run is Heisey.
7-8 pitch at bat. You spread your feet a little bit more. You crouch a little bit. You shorten everything up, including your mental approach. You can clearly see the difference between that last swing and the last few swings for Phillips and his normal swing, where he's, maybe trying to hit the ball a long way. I mean, if you're shorter in your approach, it's much easier going to make some contact. And right now, the frustration level in Verlander's got to be building a little bit.
Good eye by Phillips, who did not chase that delivery. 2-2. Upcoming now the 10th pitch of this at bat. Verlander to Phillips here in the bottom of the 5th. Angel Hernandez says no. Phillips did not go, so now the runners will be on the move.
Well, another very long pitch inning for Verlander, number 30 coming up. 11 of them in this at bat for Brandon.
Baez will be going from second. Votto from first. There they go.
Boy, any way you cut it, and no matter what happens in this at bat with Brandon Phillips, this is a successful at bat.
Sure. Dusty Baker's club spotted Leland and the Tigers 2-0. Have tied it at 2. Now Verlander at 106 pitches doesn't have the luxury of the DH spot in their lineup. Ball 4. Oh, that was something to see right there.
That may be one of the best at-bats I've seen Brandon Phillips take in a long time. Remember that in this inning, the Tigers have already turned a double play. So now they've got bases loaded, 2 out. Jay Bruce up. Last time up, Verlander reached back into that gas tank for a 100 miles an hour fastball. We'll see what he's got here for Bruce this time. Jay choking up a little bit now.
He didn't see that one at all last time, did he?
He did not go to the curveball. He goes there to start it off.
Bruce 1 out of 6 with the bases loaded this year, trying to give the Reds their first lead of the afternoon.
A little better swing that time, a little more concise for Jay. Fouled it off, yeah, but last time didn't smell a piece of it.
Joe Lockup says that at bat by Phillips, that plate appearance, 12 pitches, the longest plate appearance by a batter against Verlander this year. Late reaction right there, Chris. Just to hang in there.
Yeah, just kind of may have fooled him a little bit. Probably thinking a lot of different things right here. Now with 2 strikes, you just got to thinking about protecting the plate. Boy, who would have thought you'd see bullpen action in the 5th inning?
Tiger bullpen was Luis Marte, right-hander throwing.
I got to figure that this will probably be it for Verlander, even though he's gone as many as 131 on the season. That was a 9-inning complete game. Last 2 innings, he has really coughed up a lot of pitches, more than 60 of them.
That ends the inning. The Reds leave them loaded. They've left 5 men on in the last 2 frames. Verlander through 5. The Reds and the Tigers at 2-2. at Great American Ballpark through 5. Ramon Santiago, of all folks, gave the Tigers the early 1-0 lead with his second home run of the year. Then Prince Fielder, a day after his 14-game hitting streak came to an end, launches number 10. Tigers out in front 2-0, but Todd Frazier, smoking line drive out into right, scored 2. First Heisey, then Votto. That's where we are, 2-2 into inning number 6. Bosch leads things off.
The pitching comparison today, a lot of people didn't think this would happen. 5 innings for each of these guys, 6 and 4 hits, earned runs the same. Verlander's walked 3, Arroyo none. And Arroyo's still in the ball game, but has thrown a very efficient 59 pitches now. Verlander up over 110. So it really doesn't matter how you get it done. At the end of the day, all they ask you is how many runs and how many strikeouts and how many wins. They don't ask you how you did it.
2, 3, 4 in the Tiger order here in the 6th. Ludwig has a beat on it, and right on the edge of the track, hauls it in for the out.
How about that for home field advantage? When the Reds take the field, the sun goes behind a cloud.
And tonight's Ohio Lottery Powerball jackpot is worth $205 million. The drawing is at 11 p.m. tonight. Powerball jackpot, $205 million. Here's Miguel Cabrera. Shift on for this guy. Phillips on the third base side of second. Fielder waits on deck. Heisey to his left makes the catch. And that's the second out. 5 in a row now by Arroyo. Cinched the back-to-back hits by Laird and Worth in the 5th. Now he'll gun for his third 1-2-3 inning of this game.
That was in the 4th inning, hanging breaking ball by Prince Fielder. Jumped all over it. The 2 runs in this ball game, both home runs, both by lefties, both into the right field sun bleachers.
12 home runs by Fielder in this ballpark, as I mentioned earlier, second only in terms of visiting ballparks for Fielder to Minute Maid Park down in Houston, where he's hit 14. Fielder averaged 37 homers, 106 RBIs a year for the 7 years he spent in Milwaukee. 3 times an All-Star, 07, 09, and last year. Signed that big $214 million deal with the Tigers.
How about a 3-0 sidearm backdoor curveball?
From 3-0 to 3-2.
4.
Votto, Arroyo. 1, 2, 3 go the Tigers in the 6th. 3 innings now of 1, 2, 3 baseball for Arroyo. Up come the Reds. Brought to you by Cincinnati Children's in the top 10 for all selected pediatric specialties in U.S. News and World Report's 2011 Best Children's Hospitals. And by the dependable, long-lasting Chevy Silverado and your tri-state Chevy dealers. Sellout crowd here, Great American Ballpark on this Saturday afternoon. They've seen a good one thus far. 2-2, Reds coming up here in the bottom of the 6th. Austin Jackson has a beat on it. 1 out. Hey, a big birthday wish goes out today to Ron Jenkins from Union, Ohio. You may know him as Ron the Barber. Turning 77 years old tomorrow. You know who I'm talking about. Longtime Reds fan, never misses a game. Brings a charter bus down here annually with a bunch of his customers. Attends a game down here. Ron the Barber from Union, Ohio.
Happy birthday, Ron.
77 tomorrow. Frazier bats with 1 out. Reds about hit the Tigers 6-4. They've left 6 runners on. Verlander, who's had back-to-back 30-plus pitch innings.
Yeah, what do we know? I thought that he would be out of the ball game, but maybe he's aware of that streak of 6 innings pitched in, what, 54 consecutive
54
games?
straight, yeah.
He wants to continue that on. I was also a little shocked to see Ryan Ludwig jump on the first pitch he saw in this inning after the Reds were so successful in the 5th, making him work so hard.
Yeah, Verlander had only 1 30-pitch inning this year coming into this game, and then he has a back-to-back innings of 4th and 5th.
Now, we showed you a little ditty a few innings ago, a comparison between Bronson Arroyo's fastball and Justin Verlander's curveball and the percentage of times that they threw him. This time we're going to show you the same pitch, Verlander on the right, Arroyo's curveball on the left, and the number of RPMs that each one of his thrown. Verlander's fastball has 2,522 RPMs and a curveball by Arroyo only 1,391. That's exact opposite of what I would have normally thought until I was educated and found out that on a website that is able to provide those kind of numbers, that Brooks Baseball is the one that we go to, and we've gotten great help from those folks. And very interesting that a curveball does not have as many, even as half as many revolutions as does a fastball. Of course, fastball has a backward spin on it, and a curveball has a forward spin.
That one skipped up into the crowd like a rock on a lake right there.
And of course, that was with the help of our fine statistician Joe Luckham. Locked onto that computer and accessing about every fine baseball website there is out there, including Fox Sports Ohio.
Said he brought his A game today.
He did.
Hannigan is grounded out and struck out. He's 0 for 2. He was up there in the 4th inning with 2 on and 2 out against Verlander and struck out.
I mean, I would say that last fastball went at 97 by Verlander. He still has something in the tank even after throwing 124 pitches.
His spot in the order due up 5th.
He is remarkable.
Next inning.
And I can guarantee you that Jimmy Leland in that Tigers dugout is just agonizing with every pitch that he's throwing. I mean, watching him down here from our perch is like watching an expectant father. I mean, he's pacing back and forth. He's checking the lineup card. He's up and down on the steps. He's biting his fingernails.
Got his hat tilted back.
I mean, he's just trying to will the last out of this inning, get his ace pitcher out of there. And Hannigan simply will not comply.
Strikeout number 9 for Justin Verlander. Is he finished for the afternoon? He's through 6. We're tied 2-2 here at Great American Ballpark. 2-2 game into inning number 7. Almost identical totals in this one. What a pitching matchup we thought we would get, and indeed, Chris, we have gotten just that.
Really a little different than we thought it would lay out anyway, with Verlander probably out for the afternoon, but Bronson Arroyo just chugging along just strong. And that was one of the checkpoints that we made at the beginning of the game, that it was up to Arroyo to keep the Reds in the ball game by not giving up a big number, and he has done just that, shown himself to be a big game pitcher here this afternoon.
Only thrown 70 pitches through 6 innings. Gets Delman Young to get it started. He struck out and grounded out. He's 0 for 2. Takes that big cut at that slow curve and doesn't get it.
I think he struck out on a curveball the first time, went after a fastball the first pitch last time up. And again, that slow curveball is the one pitch that, you know, even big leaguers do not practice hitting.
Hammered into center. Heisey drifts. Heisey has it for the out. Cheer on the Reds June 12th through the 14th. That's next Tuesday through Thursday, when the Reds take on the Indians, presented by the Ohio Lottery. And Wednesday, June the 13th, arrive early and be one of the first 10,000 fans through the gates to receive a Brandon Phillips Louisville Slugger Silver Slugger mini bat. For tickets to see your Reds take on the Indians, the 12th through the 14th, call 513-381-REDS. Visit select Kroger locations or go to Reds.com. Back-to-back sellouts here at Great American Ballpark for this Tiger series. Last night and again today, 42,443. This crowd today, the largest in Great American Ballpark history and the largest non-opening day crowd during the regular season. Let me check that. The eighth largest in Great American Ballpark history, and the largest non-opening day crowd. Pretty impressive.
Well, it's been a great day for baseball. Last night, the big crowd here, the fans were treated to just a remarkable game. In fact, even the last couple of ball games, the loss to Pittsburgh in that last game when they were in town, that was a well-played game by both teams. The Reds just couldn't end up on top there. They did end up on top in last night's game. Exciting finish. And here you're all knotted up in 2 in the 7th inning of this little Saturday afternoon affair. So it's a good weekend of baseball here in Cincinnati. It gets better. Got the Indians coming into town on Tuesday. Seats available for that series. Reds win today and see what they can do tomorrow. They're getting on a roll.
Pirates, by the way, the second place team, did win last night. They're 3-0 for the first time this year, so the Reds lead over Pittsburgh is at 2. Cardinals lost. They're 3 games back. Into center. Heisey can't get this one on a base hit. So Ramon Santiago, he had a hit last night. He has 2 of them today. Lonely Planet Travel Guide has named Cincinnati, USA one of the top 3 travel destinations in 2012. So what are you waiting for? Book your weekend getaway at CincinnatiUSA.com. Batter Gerald Laird.
Well, the lines that really mean something right here, the total runs are the same, but that's one reason why this guy, Verlander, will be out, and Arroyo still chugging along.
Dwayne Belo. No, that's not Belo. That would be Braylon Villarreal. Right-hander throwing in the Tiger bullpen.
boy, he has been able to feather that fastball in the outside corner all afternoon.
Action now in the Reds pen. Sean Marshall up and throwing. Young fly to center. Santiago single to center. 2-1 count now on Gerald Laird. Santiago on the move there. He'll retreat on that foul ball. Laird, longtime Texas Rangers backup catcher after initially being drafted by Oakland. He returns to Detroit after a year in St. Louis last year and spent a couple of years here with the Tigers.
Slowing the pace down here, sensing that it's probably getting towards the end of the line, even though his pitch count is not up there. He knows he's in a tight ball game. One little mistake in this ballpark can cost him the game. Probably send the runner here. Maybe Roy will go over first. Nope, he does not.
Ludwig battles the sun and makes the catch for the out. Well, the sun had been behind the cloud there for a little while, but it came out. Ludwig did a good job. 2 out. So here's Danny Worth. We are about, what, 50 minutes from the normal start time of a game. And you can see that shadow drifting out slowly from the Reds dugout out toward the mound now, and it'll eventually get out there toward left field.
Well, it's one thing to have the shadow, but it's a lot more difficult to see the ball with that very bright, shiny background this time of day, normally reserved for batting practice.
Heisey makes the catch of the line drive by Worth, and the inning is over. Stretch time at Great American Ballpark. 2-2 game. A new pitcher into the contest. Verlander goes 6. Allows 2 runs, 6 hits, 3 walks, 1 intentional, 9 strikeouts. The Reds did pretty much what you had talked about they needed to do before the game.
Well, they had a game plan and they stuck with it. Part of that was, of course, strike zone management. And even though Verlander had good stuff, the Reds outlasted him today. They were very patient at the plate. They were a team that had a game plan overall, and they stuck with it. They got him out of the ball game after 6 innings, 127 pitches, a season high for the Tiger starter. He gives way to the bullpen, and this is where the Reds feel like they really have the advantage between the Reds bullpen and the Tigers bullpen. First one is Brian Villarreal. 14 games, even though he's got a good earned run average, not a lot of touches here so far in the major leagues this season.
So the right-hander Villarreal in for Verlander. And here's Christopher Negron batting for Arroyo. This is his big league debut in terms of a plate appearance. He was a pinch runner the other night. Negron, 26 years old. Willingsboro, New Jersey, where he grew up. Six foot, 195. Went to college in Sacramento. He's a 7th-round pick by Boston back in 2006. He came to the Reds in August of 2009 in the deal that sent Alex Gonzalez to the Red Sox. In the hole, a ball and 2 strikes.
We've seen Chris Negron last couple of seasons in spring training down in Arizona. Nice player, utility type player. They've worked him out in the outfield. They've had him in the infield.
Both starters now out of this game. Six innings, 2 runs for Verlander. 7 innings, 2 runs for Arroyo. No walks and 4 strikeouts. He came in with the 2nd best walk to per 9 innings ratio in the National League at 1.3. That'll go down today. No free passes by Bronson. And only 10 now on the year in 76 innings.
Well, that's renewed confidence by Arroyo being able to throw that fastball for strike, not worrying so much about the speed, but more about the location.
Negron coaches a walk at 1-2, which was the count. He gets the free pass. He's on to start the bottom of the 7th. Negron made his big league debut on Thursday here against the Pirates as a pinch runner in the 9th inning for Ryan Hannigan, who had drawn the walk. Fourth walk given to the Reds today.
Well, with Arroyo on last time up, when he got it on in the 5th inning with a leadoff single, that was against Verlander. They had Kozar trying to lay down a bunt, did not get it down, eventually grounded into a double play ball. I was curious if maybe Dusty would go back to that strategy here in the 7th. A little more difficult to see. And really it's hard to see the baseball, but it's even harder to see the spin of the baseball. That's what the hitters need to see to be able to recognize the fastball from the off-speed stuff. You'd love to see the Reds get a run here and get the Chapman throwing 105 with that kind of background.
Yeah, the Reds could bring out their version, 100-mile-an-hour man. Scored on via an earned run for the first time this year on Thursday. Did not work last night. Ready to roll today. Grown a threat to run. He did have 15 stolen bases and 18 tries at Louisville this year. That one almost got away from fielder. Cozart 0 for 3. Bounced into a double play as last time. Leadoff man on for the Reds, Negron. Santiago, that's the only out they get at second base. He gives it to Worth, and they get the force out.
Not a good day for Bronson Arroyo. We told you all game long he needed a good day out of the Reds right-hander, and he had it. He had his breaking ball working, whether it was against righties or lefties, it didn't matter. Sometimes it was sidearm, but for the most part, he had the Tigers off stride. Made a couple of mistakes, just those 2 home run balls that ended up in the sun deck, but other than that, Arroyo in control here on this Saturday afternoon.
Reds can get something done here in the bottom of the 7th. He would be the winning pitcher. 2 and 4 on the year. Izzy 2 out of 3, single and a double.
About the fewest starters used by teams in the major leagues this year. The Reds have only used 5. I mean, last year, they used 10 overall. Miami has used 5. The Cardinals have used 5. The Mariners 5. You got to go a long way back. What, to 1992?
Yeah, I think that's right.
To find the last time a Reds team had gone this deep into the season, having only used 5 starters. And one of the starters who was in that rotation back in 1992 is in the ballpark tonight, scouting for the Indians.
That would be Tim Belcher, right?
Tim Belcher here, who was a pitching coach the last couple of seasons for the Indians. In fact, Belcher, as you know, he was a losing pitcher in the perfect game tossed by Tom Browning. But he was quick to say at lunch yesterday, there's Tim Belcher. He was quick to say, hey, you don't forget, though, the start before the Tom Browning pitched the perfect game against me, I hit him for a home run in Dodger Stadium. I said, you hit him for a home run? I said, boy, you know what they say about paybacks. Next time out, he threw a perfect game against you.
As he called out on strike, second time that's happened today. 2 men out. No, you're looking at that the fewest number of starters used. Jaime Garcia, the Cardinals went on the DL, so that will change for St. Louis now.
Man, oh man, we have seen some serious speedballs here in this ball game this afternoon. Verlander up to 101. That last pitch by Villarreal at 99.
Now it's Votto. That one skips away from Laird. The go-ahead run, Negron down to second base.
They're going to appeal down to third base. Did he go or not? And boy, they said he did not go on that check swing. And all of a sudden now that Tigers dugout has erupted. And they're going to walk Votto. He's going to toss somebody if they keep barking from that dugout. There's the look. They called it a ball, and because it was a ball, Jimmy Leyland says, you know what? We'll just go ahead and walk him.
One hand came off the bat. What do you think of that? Is that a strike to you?
I'm only a broadcaster, not an umpire.
Jimmy Leland didn't seem as upset about it as some of the other folks in the dugout.
Well, what it did was change the strategy of this inning, and Leland may have said, I'm going to walk him anyway. But you have to feel that, after last night's loss, you lose on a safety squeeze in the 10th inning. You come out here, you're running your best pitcher out there, who's not only the best pitcher on your club, but also the best pitcher maybe in baseball right now. And he only lasts 6 innings. It's got to be a frustrating day here for the Tigers. But not a lot of sympathy they're going to find here in the Queen City.
Well, let's hope Brandon can make it a little bit more frustrating. 2 on, 2 out. Go-ahead run, Negron out at second base. And this 2-2 game. Middle game of this 3-game series. Brandon today 0 for 2 with a walk. But he may have had the definitive at bat of this game against Verlander earlier. He walked to load the bases in the 5th. Now, Bruce struck out the end of the inning, but he really made Verlander work and make his pitch count go way up there.
Either Brandon did not see that pitch at all, or he's setting them up, because he buckled big time on a pitch that ended up on the outside part of the plate, and he's buckling already. You see the front side, that his knee right there. It's just very, very difficult to pick the ball up right now.
Is in there, gets away. The runners move up.
All we need is one more of those.
Second one of the inning by Villarreal. Here comes Jeff Jones.
I don't think I've seen a pitching coach all year long make as many trips to the mound in 2 games or a game and a half as Jeff Jones has.
Yeah, this is about 6 times out there.
Should have brought his own pavers. He's probably telling him, hey, you know what? You can't see anything back there. You can't see the spin on the ball. You can't see the ball coming out of your hand. So why are you throwing the sliders in the dirt? That may have been one of those trips where Leland looked at Jones and said, get out there and talk to him.
Runners are in the sun. Hitter and pitcher are in shadows, although that shadow just passed the mound now. Two and two. Playable for Jackson. Inning is over. Reds have now left 8 on in the game. So we move on to the 8th. Still tied at 2. Ballpark for Hall of Fame induction night. Arrive early for a pregame on-field induction ceremony, plus the first 25,000 fans through the gates will receive a Sean Casey bobblehead thanks to PNC Bank. Then cheer on your Reds when they take on those Minnesota Twins. For tickets, you can call 513-381-RED. You can visit select Kroger locations, or you can go to Reds.com. 2-2 game into the 8th inning. The pitcher on is Sean Marshall.
And this big left-hander is on some kind of a roll for the Reds. He's not allowed a hit in any one of his last 10 appearances. He's retired his last 13 batters faced over the last 5. Pitched in 3 of the games, of course, against the Pittsburgh Pirates. And curveball, slider, fastball, low 90s. Marshall is a guy that Dusty Baker calls on here in the 8th.
He'll face Hernan Perez to pinch hit for Villarreal. This is a fellow that just called up today from Single A Lakeland in the Florida State League to replace Johnny Peralta on the roster, who went on paternity leave to be with his wife. Making his major league debut with Lakeland, he was hitting .252 with a couple of home runs in 55 games. He goes from the Florida State League to the big leagues. Villarreal, 1 inning, 2 walks, 1 intentional, 1 strikeout.
You don't see too many players being called up from A-ball.
No, you sure don't.
I mean, rarely do you see a player up out of Double-A.
Hits it to third.
It's been a quick day for him. He did not get here at the ballpark until 3:45 for a 4 o'clock game.
Wow.
That's the big league in a kid.
He grounds out, so there's 1 out. Top of the order now, and Austin Jackson. Struck out, grounded out, flied out. 0 for 3 in his first game since May the 17th. And on the Tiger DL with an abdominal strain. He came over here, you mentioned earlier, in that Curtis Granderson deal. Phil Koch, who was so impressive last night, was also involved in that trade. That was a 3-team deal that also involved the Arizona Diamondbacks. They end up getting someone that has been very, very good for them, Ian Kennedy. Brendan Bosch waits on deck. Joaquin Benoit, right-hander, throwing in the Detroit bullpen. There's the big guy.
Well, you might say that the Tigers and Jimmy Lille are not afraid to throw young kids right into the fire. They had a young man last night make his major league debut. Came into a tight ball game, right? It was
Jose Ortega.
Had to bring a kid up out of A-ball today.
Frazier with a high throw, but Votto saves him. Comes off the bag, makes the catch, puts the tag on Jackson. 2 men out. How about our John Morrell hot dog play of the game that also involved defense? This was in the first. Arroyo, where is it? Where is it? He's got it. There you saw Cabrera pointing at him. Hit him on the backside right there.
It did.
Made the play. Our John Morrell hot dog play of the game.
Don't rub it.
Arroyo. 2 out for Bosch. Marshall looking to have a 1-2-3 inning. Heisey broke in. That ball over his head and off the wall. Bosch has himself a 2-out double.
Well, that gives you a little indication of how difficult it is to pick the ball up. Bosch saw it coming out of the hand of Sean Marshall, but Heisey had no clue at all. He took about 3 or 4 steps in and then realized, whoops, that ball's over my head. Not only over my head, but nearly out of the ballpark.
11th double of the year for Bosch. Lefty's been hitting just 136 against Marshall this year. He tattooed that thing.
Well, this is really why Marshall is in this part of the ball game. You've got Bosch lefty, Miguel Cabrera right here righty, and then Prince Fielder lefty. And you wonder now if Dusty Baker is going to walk Cabrera. And he will. So you walk our best guy twice, we'll walk yours once.
That'll bring up the lefty Prince Fielder then with 2 on and 2 out. First walk given up by Reds pitching today. A couple of ground outs to third to Frazier. Off the bat of the pinch hitter Perez, then Jackson, and the ringing double by Bosch, and now the intentional walk. So it comes down to the former Brewer Fielder and the former Cub Marshall would have faced one another many times over the course of the last few years. And in fact, Fielder hitting .217, 5 hits and 23 at bats against Marshall.
10 punch outs.
Fielder homered back in the 4th to make it 2-0 Detroit at the time. Towards center. Down for a hit. Runner being waved. Here comes the throw, and they do not get him. Bosch scores, and the Tigers have regained the lead at 3-2 on a solid single to center by Prince Fielder.
Well, he hung that breaking ball right there, very similar to the same spot that Prince Fielder launched one out of the ballpark earlier in the ball game. A good throw by Heisey, just not able to get it there in time. They were waving him around, and Gene Lamont realized that his ball game where runs are at a premium. I'm just going to go ahead and wave it, take a chance. Brendan Bosch comes in with that go-ahead run.
Dusty to the mound. Reds will make a pitching change. Our skyline call to the bullpen means Logan Ondrusek. Baseball's greatest stars battle for home field advantage in the Fall Classic. It's the road to the World Series. It begins with the 2012 Major League All-Star Game Tuesday, July the 10th at 7:30 Eastern, only on Fox. Tigers by a run. They've now hit the Reds 7-6. Andrusik last worked in the Wednesday night game here against the Pirates. One batter gave up the 3-run homer to Andrew McCutchen that cut the Reds lead from 5-1 to 5-4. Great numbers, though, in terms of inherited runners. He's inherited 22. Only 3 have scored, and that was in that game on Wednesday. And he'll leave these 2 on as Delman Young taps it back to the mound to retire the side. But the tie has been broken. RBI single by Prince Fielder. Detroit by 1. Reds will take on in-state rival Cleveland here at the ballpark, Great American Ballpark, as they continue this 9-game homestand and continue interleague play. You can join Jim Day, Jeff Pecora for Reds Live on Tuesday beginning at 6:30. Tom Brenneman and Chris Welsh have the call of the game. First pitch comes up at 7:10 here on the home of the Reds, Fox Sports Ohio. Cueto against Genmar Gomez. Defensive change for Detroit. Don Kelly goes out in left field. New pitcher into the game, Joaquin Benoit.
He's a veteran, all right. Benoit, 34 years old. He's been around. He's always been a reliever, and he's always been a middle reliever. Pitched in Texas for a long time, Tampa Bay a couple of years ago, and last year in Detroit, this year in Detroit. Often used by Jimmy Leland, 27th game for this right-hander. Throws hard.
Second year with the Tigers, had a sub-3 ERA last year for Detroit. Division winning team. Back with them this year. Reds down a run. Bruce, Ludwig, and Frazier try their luck against Benoit. Kelly, the left fielder, by the way, is in the 9 spot in the batting order, so he's due up 4th in the 9th. Benoit takes the place of Delman Young in the 5 hole. Bruce in this game 1 for 3. Doubled early against Verlander, then struck out in the 4th. Struck out with the bases loaded and 2 men out in the 5th. And he strikes out here to start the bottom of the 8th. 11 strikeouts now for Tiger pitching. Here's Ludwig. Well, the older this guy's gotten, Benoit, he's 34 now. He's gotten better. 2 years ago with Tampa Bay in 63 games, a 1.34 ERA, 75 strikeouts in 60 innings, and last year 66 games at 2.95. High in the air by Ludwig, but playable for Austin Jackson. 2 out.
Well, Benoit actually throwing harder now than he did 10 years ago. He's 34 now, so 10 years he was 24. He was only throwing about 90, 91 back in those days. Now he's throwing 93 to 95. So go figure. He doesn't use his fastball nearly as much. He's only about 50% fastball user. He loves his slider, and he really loves that changeup. He's throwing that changeup in there about 33% of the time. So that's what he's been able to get through most of these hitters with.
He gets Frazier now with 2 out, no one on. Frazier had that hit back in the 4th that tied the game 2-2. 1 for 3. Hannigan waits on deck. And the pitcher spot. Now Aroldis Chapman is up and throwing in the Reds bullpen. Sean Marshall right now the pitcher of record for the Reds. He allowed a run, 2 hits in 2/3 of an inning.
There's that changeup. They want to send birthday wishes out to Bill Spiegel, celebrating his 80th birthday today. His real birthday was back in May, but all his buddies getting together tonight having a big party for him. And Bill, thanks for hiring me 20 years ago.
Happy birthday, Bill. You hired this guy.
I think they fired him right after that, but good man Bill Spiegel is, and we wish him the best. Still swinging that golf club and having a lot of fun with all those Clover men out there at Clovernook. Used to run Reds baseball long before Fox Ohio ever existed, back in the days of Channel 5. Yeah,
took that shot with you, huh?
Somebody must have held a gun to his head. Who knows? Either that or he had a good eye for talent.
Tigers bullpen has not been, as we've mentioned before, a solid part of their team this year. They come in with a 4.20 ERA, 13th out of 14 American League teams.
Well, they've had a problem in the 9th inning. But the 8th inning has not been a big problem with Benoit out there. 3-2, he may just go right back to that changeup. Doubt if Frazier's going to see a good fastball to hit here. Slider. I mean, he's impressed everybody around here with his ability to hit the fastball. Did last night when he rocketed that double off Luis Marte. Hit Justin Verlander's fastball on a solid base hit to right. Drove a couple of runs in.
96-mile-an-hour fastball, and Benoit disposes of Frazier. Reds go in order. Upcoming, the ninth. Evening comes off the bat of Prince Fielder. That blow in the 8th inning scores Brennan Bosch. 2 out, nobody on rally. And Prince is very excited about it indeed. He gets the RBI, his 38th of the year. Our Nissan drive of the game has given the Tigers a 3-2 lead in the 8th. This game progresses now to the 9th. Santiago will lead it off. He got the scoring started in this contest back in the 2nd with his 2nd home run of the year. We mentioned his first came earlier this month against CC Sabathia. He had a hit back in the 7th. He's 2 out of 3. Andrusik came on, retired Delman Young to end the 8th. He stays out there, works the 9th. Gerald Laird to follow, then Danny Worth, and then Don Kelly in the 9-hole after that double switch. Tigers leading 3-2. Middle game of this series. Tomorrow night, 8:05 game. National televised contest. Sunday night baseball. Off day Monday, and then the Indians here. The final leg of the 3-team, 9-game, 10-day homestand. Reds then head back to New York. A 2nd trip to the Big Apple to take on the Mets for 3, then go to Cleveland for 3. Votto, Andrusik, 1 out. Right center, and Bruce will make the grab, and there are 2 out. We go back in history for our Miller Time moment of the game, brought to you by Miller Lite. On this date, 2008, 4 years ago, home run number 600, 600, down in Miami, Florida for Ken Griffey Jr. Family in attendance. Big hug there from Trey.
It was a while ago. We saw Ken Griffey Jr. and his son Trey not too long ago, just about a week or so,
down
here
in
in the Reds
clubhouse.
clubhouse. And Trey, of course, on his way to become a football player at the University of Arizona. Wide receiver of some renown, in fact, highly recruited by a number of schools all over the country.
Jr. ended up 630 home runs and is 6th on the all-time list. A-Rod recently surpassed him. That was number 600 we showed you. Danny Worth 1 for 3, 2 out, nobody on. Looking ahead now, Reds 9th. Hannigan, pinch hitter for Andrusik, and Cozart 8, 9, and 1. Closer on this Tiger team is Jose Valverde. Remember him? He used to close with the Houston Astros. Worth draws a 2-out walk. Boy, you don't want to fall any further behind. First two had gone down in the 8th, and then the Tigers mounted their rally to get the lead. Now Don Kelly bats for the first time. Ryan Price, who had been away for personal family business, back with the ball club today. He'll go to the mound. Second place Pittsburgh. They play tonight at home against Kansas City. Third place St. Louis. They are also playing at home tonight against Cleveland. Reds start the day 2 ahead of the Pirates, 3 ahead of the Cardinals. Here comes Tom Hallion now to break up this conference. National League Central Division standings. Taking a look, the Reds don't play another National League Central Division team until the 25th of this month when Milwaukee comes in. Kelly, straight left-handed hitter, starts the game at 184 with a homer and 7 RBIs. Kelly drafted by the Tigers back in 01, but made his big league debut for the Pirates. Back in the Tiger system since 2009. In fact, he went to Point Park College, which is right there located right near where old Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh was, right at the Point Park there, right where the rivers converge. Two-out walk to Worth, has him at first. slipped away from Hannigan, who has trouble finding the ball momentarily. Down to second goes Worth.
Now that was a splitter that when it is thrown and hits in front of home plate as far as this one did, it doesn't really give the catcher much of a chance at all. Hannigan tries to get his body over there, just goes off the top of his arm and all the way to the backstop.
He's done some good demonstrations of that with you on Tech Talk, hasn't
he breaks it down about as well as anybody. Trying to figure out how to guide Ondrusek through this inning without no runs.
He was ahead here of Kelly 0-2, and now the count's gone full. To the mound, and Ondrusek caught that soft line drive. Kelly gone, so are the Tigers. They leave their 6th. Last shot coming up for the Redlegs. Down 3-2, bottom of the 9th.
Got to charge him.
Make your calendar, mark your calendars, I should say, for June 12th through the 14th and get to Great American Ballpark to cheer on the Reds. They take on the Cleveland Indians, and that's presented by the Ohio Lottery. Wednesday the 13th, arrive early, be one of the first 10,000 through the gates. You'll get a Brandon Phillips Louisville Slugger Silver Slugger mini bat. For tickets to see the Reds and the Indians, the 12th to the 14th, next Tuesday through Thursday. Call 513-381-REDS. Visit select Kroger locations or go to Reds.com. Don Kelly moves from left to right field now for Detroit. Quentin Berry, who's been playing center, replacing Austin Jackson when he was on the DLs, now in the game in left field. Berry replaces Bosch in terms of the batting order. He's second, and here's the closer, Jose Valverde.
Papa Grande, 25th game for this right-hander, formerly an Arizona Diamondback, a Houston Astro, now in his 3rd season with the Tigers. He converted every one of his saves last year, all 49 of them. And he went out this year and blew the first one he had against Boston on April the 5th. No more of the screaming fastball in the upper 90s. He throws a lot of splitters up there.
He gets Hannigan to get it started.
like a lot of guys that throw that split finger fastball, Jose Valverde will put that grip in his hand as he holds the ball alongside of his thigh. That's his bread and butter pitch. That is a classic split finger grip right there.
"34 years old now. Well, he's had over 250 career saves. Led the big leagues in saves a year ago. Guy can still get it done. That unique stretch that he has. Toward the right side, but gobbled up there by Worth. For out number 1. Now Miguel Cairo, big part of last night's win, will pinch hit.
You're not kidding about that. He rifles it down the right field line and gets away from the right fielder down there as Matt Young chases it around a little while, and Miguel Cairo, a stand-up dribble, comes in to score on a squeeze play, a safety squeeze by Wilson Valdez. You see Cairo getting a jump there at third base. The hand comes in over around the plate. And that was one exciting finish to a fine ball game last night. Does he have magic in that bat 2 nights in a row?
He had a pair of hits last night. The triple was the second. Interesting to hear him say after the game, "I drive home every night thinking I can still get the job done." Jumped his average to 163. He's 3 for 11 as a pinch hitter this year. Cozart waits on deck. Reds down by a run, 3-2.
Actually shading Miguel Cairo towards the right field line. The right fielder over there is playing about 15 or 20 feet closer to the line than he normally would be. He's going to make sure that Cairo doesn't slide one down that line like he did last night.
Cairo gets it in the air, but into shallow left. Quentin Berry has it for the second out. The Reds are down to their last crack, and that's Zach Cozart. Again, the second consecutive sellout, the 5th of the year here at Great American Ballpark on this, what was a late Saturday afternoon, now early Saturday evening. 42,443. Sellout crowd thrilled when they left last night with that exhilarating come from behind win. Now looking for some late inning magic here. 2 out, nobody on. Cabrera right on top of the bag at third. Cozart today 0 for 4. toward the middle. Santiago. And the series is even as the Tigers pull out this one-run victory by the final score of 3-2. Yeah, with 2 home runs hit in today's game, a total of $24,000 has been raised in this game broadcast for prostate cancer research. To make a donation, you can call 800-798-CURE or go online to www.pcf.org. 3-2, Tigers a winner over the Reds. Coming up, Reds Live postgame right after this.